Hello, hello, beautiful spirits. I'm so happy to finally be back with you. And this message is coming to you not from my typical place in my home, but from Mentone, Alabama. And that's its own story for any of you who follow me. You may have gotten my recent newsletter. I was supposed to be in India, and that was the reason why I didn't have this one set up, this particular full moon reading, as I typically do. And then I had internet trouble with the last one. So now I'm hoping that even though I'm not at home, that I'm on a different internet system, that you're still receiving this message loud and clear. So let's go ahead and drop into this full moon. As usual, we usually start to feel the rise of the full moon about 3 days before, 3 days after, and for some people it can be even longer. So this full moon is in Leo. This is the heart of astrology, and it's very playful and very vibrant, wants to be seen, wants to be heard, wants to be respected, honored, and just as Leos, they do like attention. They do like positive attention. They like to be the life of the party. They like to be the centerpiece. And for me, the way that I've noticed this is more within myself, within the inner realms of like what parts of me have been acting out and want to be seen. What parts of me really want to shine? What parts of me do I need to just give a little bit more respect to and create more space for them to be shared? And as usual in these readings, we may find some more information. So if this is your first time, this is for a collective summary of how this energy may affect us all, and personally with some guidance as to maybe how we can meet the energy and best use it in our path. So let's start off with some journey soul cards. And I don't have a whole lot of space here, so bear with me as I'm like trying to figure out the logistics of doing this. Yeah, so what's here with this full moon? What are some of the more significant themes that are dancing here? Wow, denial immediately. That's one that was pulled. And then honesty. Yeah. Okay. Coming back to what I was starting to weave in about the Leo full moon and what parts of yourself have you really not allowed to be, have kind of pushed off and put in a box or put away in a closet. What parts have been denied? And with that, this particular card says, I acknowledge my fear, but I replace it with the insight of awareness. And it sits next to the honesty card, and that this is the resolution for denial, right? Is to be totally honest with ourselves, and maybe if it was called out by someone else, brought to our attention by somebody else, being honest with them as well, in seeing ourselves and seeing what we're denying. And I can't always expect the truth from others, but I can expect it from myself. I'm just going to relate to this as the way that I've been seeing it within me. Just even today as I was hiking, I started tracking these patterns that are showing up, and these places where I project some of my own shadow onto the people around me, onto family. And I started to track it as I was walking, and I identified, wow, okay, wow, that really does live in me, but it lives in me in this way. I never would have put those things together. So it feels like there's an opening with this full moon for that light to come through and show us where we're not being fully honest in our day-to-day life. Maybe looking at your projections. What are you rubbing up against right now? What kind of people are you attracting? What kind of similarities are there in the situations that are at hand? Particularly the ones that are frustrating, but also the ones that are light, the things about people that you want to emulate, how you keep attracting these similar qualities in people or in experiences. Is there a reflection for you to own, to be honest with yourself about your true beauty, about your gifts, your power? Um, let's honor both light and dark in this, and know that we can't have one without the other. So let's bring in some of the shamanic deck, the shamanic oracle cards from Alberto Villoldo. Pachamama card is, just as it sounds, if you know, Pachamama is the Mother Earth, Shakti, the provider, the underlying current of love, wisdom, beauty, and energy that pervades the universe. And I'll read to you what this card says. Pachamama represents the unconditional love that the earth has for all her children, including the stones, the plants, the animals, and humans. She is the goddess of earth, also known as Gaia, who pervades all creation in our planet. Thanks to Pachamama, our timeless soul can experience life in a biological body. The joy and pain we taste during brief time on earth are invitations to discover the boundless love of Pachamama. The invitation is that now is the time to eat right, love right, and be joyous, regardless of the circumstances you may find yourself in. Be grateful for your life, your body, and all that nourishes you. Pachamama invites you to relish each breath, embrace your joy and your pain equally, and discover love through both. Let Pachamama know how much you appreciate all her blessings with an act of service such as planting a tree, helping save an endangered species, or protecting the ocean. And I think another way of doing that is what we have already touched on, with honoring our own light, our own dark, in the places where we haven't allowed it to be. We haven't allowed it to be seen. We haven't just allowed it to exist without judging it, without denying it. And another little piece of wisdom that this connects to for me is, I was also considering some habits that I have, and one of them, if you read my last newsletter that just went out, is this love affair that I have with, in particular, cheesecake. And there's nothing wrong with that. But for me, there is a very fine line where it becomes overindulgent, where I'm overriding my higher self. And that's never the path of integrity. That's never actually the path to liberation. Well, I'll take that back. It's just a more difficult path to liberation. And that's what I want to get to, is that we don't have to learn through pain. I know this in particular from living through breaking addictions. Most of the time, we would rather learn from pain, where it's just too difficult to break the cycle. So we just keep on in the indulgence, in the obsession, in the addictive behavior or substance, until the universe has to get our attention in a really loud and dramatic and often tragic way. But that is a choice. We actually don't have to learn in that way. We can choose to learn through love. We can choose to learn through joy and polarize ourselves with that. So that feels like maybe that's the undercurrent of this, is like, how do we polarize ourselves with the light more than the dark? Um, Not that we don't respect it and not that we're going to deny it, but how do we polarize ourselves to learn in an easier way and maybe more effective, efficient way? Who knows? I mean, for me, I know that I definitely take the path of pain most of the time because that's just how we've been programmed. But in that, have you ever realized that you don't have to? Have you ever realized that you actually have the opportunity to learn through love, to learn through light and not through pain? And what are your beliefs around that? Just kind of watch yourself. And as I'm saying this, like, watch the thoughts that come up. Maybe disbelief, maybe anger, maybe resentment. You know, why are those there? What does that tell you about your conditioning? And is there room to grow? Is there room for new neural pathways of learning in a different way than you and your ancestors have? Our next card is Standstill. And standstill is very much what it sounds like. It's becoming still enough to observe. You know, we are so distracted in our modern world, constantly consuming information, consuming just in all ways, whether it's information, food, energy, social settings, ideas, ideologies, all of these things we're consuming constantly. And so it's imbalanced in the being and the active part of our lives. And it's in the being that we're like, oh yeah, now I remember that thing that I forgot. Oh yeah, now I can start to track these patterns, and it's bringing forth a deeper understanding of what's behind the patterns. And this is how you find these shadows, these fractures that have been denied, have been put off, the places where you're not fully honest with yourself. It requires us to be reflective, and sometimes that means that we need to remove ourselves from our environment for some amount of time. Sometimes it means that we need to purposefully, put our phones away, or make a sacred sanctuary somewhere that's away from everyone else. It's away from electronics, even away from the city, just away from like our usual routes and the places where our patterns are pretty ingrained. It can be helpful just to remove ourselves physically from the environment, create some distance, and allow yourself to stand still. Allow yourself enough space to just be and to watch the beingness, to observe the mind, to observe the emotions with the mind, to observe your quality of presence. It will tell you a lot about your health and well-being. Let's see what other wisdom this card may have. So when standstill appears, it's a symbol of pausing, the act of observation and breathing space. It represents the benefits of temporary non-action, as well as what happens when one is stuck. When things seem to stall or stagnate, or when you feel stuck, this symbol appears as a reminder that constant action isn't going to get you where you want to go. Perhaps it's time to gather more information, or wait until the universe makes the next move. No matter what, this moment is a beautiful gift orchestrated in your favor. Enjoy it. Let the universe bring all the parts together for the highest good. Go and play, recharge, and take the focus of whatever has stalled. Life will get busy again for you sooner than you think. So that hits home. I absolutely relate to that. I was supposed to take a massive trip to India this Monday, and it stalled out. You know, there were multiple obstacles, and I continued to pursue the journey. And then, like, ultimately, right there at the ticket counter, I ended up being denied. And I'll share more about that at a later time. But it left me in this state of feeling a little disoriented, feeling not so much like I was supposed to be there, because that actually was kind of the underlying message, was that a part of me just couldn't feel myself there. It didn't feel quite right. And so there was more relief and more flow when I was notified that I couldn't make the trip. It actually felt way more fluid and like I was back in the flow of life. And yet, feeling like I'm not here, I'm not there, I'd made these arrangements, what do I do with myself now? I still really need the space to go in deep, which is what the trip was about, was really coming back to my inner light through my shadows, being willing to investigate and do self-discovery. So this feels like it's not just me. What has your experience been this week of feeling stalled, of feeling like things just aren't moving? You had plans and they didn't turn out the way that you wanted to, or maybe it's in work, maybe it's in home life, things just feeling like a little stagnant, and like maybe you thought you made progress and then you're surprised that things look differently. Yeah, I really, really feel that, and could sense today when I was hiking and really just taking a break from being so active, especially in my work life. I was able to see so much of myself, so much of my shadow, and track all of these parts that have been slowly coming together to show me something. And yet it's not quite there. It's still not there yet, but I'm that much more clear because I made the space. Let's draw one more card from this deck. Get a little bit more clarity. Lightning. So lightning is the thing that's unexpected, right? It's sharp, it's quick, but it also lights up the whole sky. So it's something that in an instant can grab your attention. The formidable electrical discharge of a lightning bolt brightens the sky and strikes the earth, accompanied by the mighty sound of thunder. This phenomenon has a positive effect. The light illuminates the earth and the psyche. But there is a destructive side as well. The bolt can burn and even kill if it's too strong. The forces of the upper world are investing their gathered energies to ignite you with new inspiration and creativity. Allow this divine gift of awakening to take root in your being and enjoy a renewed sense of clarity, passion, and vision. Life has gifted you with a destiny that is in alignment with your passion and in harmony with all existence on earth. Now lightning has come to jolt you into accepting your destiny. Let this initiation release what is in the way of your fulfilling your life purpose. Otherwise, you'll be bound to your karmic fate. This is a time to be courageous and daring. Karma is the other theme. It's been a theme for about the last 3 weeks, and it feels very ripe around this full moon. All connecting to these shadow aspects that we have denied, and our honesty, our choice of integrity. And if we're choosing, once again, this is the opportunity to resolve some of the karmic bonds that we have been living lifetime after lifetime, that our family has been living. And it feels like this is a point, an intersection, if you will, where we have a very unique opportunity to break this cycle and learn through ease and love. Or we can continue on the cycle and get hit with the pain, the difficulty, the tragedy, all of those things that force us out of our own way, force us out of our suffering, because of the depth of suffering that they eventually cause, because we're not willing to heed our own soul's wisdom, because we keep denying the soul's wisdom. I spoke a lot about this in this last newsletter, so if you didn't read it, I would highly recommend go back and read it. There's some nuggets of wisdom. Okay, I'm actually gonna pull one more here. The giveaway. The giveaway. When I think about these karmic cycles, the addictions, the people, the ways of being that we're trying to ignore and avoid, and the parts of ourselves that we have been unwilling to be honest about, that we can turn, and when it's authentically coming from the deepest part of our soul, that we are willing to let it go, we are willing to give it away, we are willing, and it's not even like we're trying to give away something we don't want, but rather we're giving away something that holds tremendous value for us. So it's not necessarily the identity of the thing that's being used, it's what it's being used for. So if we're using food for comfort, we're willing to go inside and say, all right, God, sweet spirit, universe, whatever your term of reference is for the omnipresent, I'm willing to give away my fear of feeling grief. I'm willing to give away the part of me that is fearful of being loved, whatever the story is. So it's not, for me, it's like, okay, I'll give away my cheesecake. No, it's something much deeper than that. It's, for me, it's very much tied to feelings. It's feelings of grief. And for most people, I can almost guarantee the food is tied to feelings of, emotions. Allowing myself to feel grief, allowing myself to also feel joy. As backwards as it seems, like the way that the psyche and the ego work is that if we start to experience these higher vibrational fields of joy, of pleasure, of bliss, of happiness and contentment, there can be like a thermostat almost. And I get this from Gary Chapman in his book, The Big Leap. Excellent book. But there's like a thermostat in there where the ego goes, wait, this is kind of uncomfortable. Like, I shouldn't be happy this much for this long. Let's do something to like dampen that. And so then we'll go into like auxiliary mode and grab for a cheesecake or grab for something else. And it's very tricky the way that it works, because sometimes it can present itself as like, oh, I feel so good, I want to feel even better. And it's just a trick. It's just one of the many wonderful ways that the ego is able to distract us from what's honestly there. What's the motivating force? So I'm gonna read the giveaway on this too, and then we're gonna circle back around and kind of bring this all together in a summary. So the giveaway is the gift that you offer to life without attachment, without expecting anything back. You can only give what is truly yours: a smile, a nod of encouragement, a gentle touch, and a kind word. This is not giving to others what you no longer want, like the sweater that no longer fits, but gifting that which is most precious: your authentic love and genuine feelings. So this could even be, let's say you have a challenging situation with someone in your family or someone in your life, and everything in you, the karmic tie in you, just like wants to hit back. Like, hopefully not physically, hopefully not even with your words, but that's the impulse often, is to fire back or to remove ourselves in such a way that it causes suffering by the other person. So, whatever the control drama is underneath that, what if you're able to choose to give away the part of you that wants to be right and to give what that person is needing: validation, love, appreciation, a kind word, a smile, a hug, an apology. You know, what is that? What is that in your life? And that is the way out of the karmic loop. That's not through pain. That's actually the exit that doesn't take you back around, wrapping you tighter and tighter until something has to break. It's the opportunity to break the cycle through love, which is actually the polarization that we're all moving towards. But it's a difficult one. This is a core collective samskara pattern that has been carried through the consciousness of humanity. So we have to learn within ourselves, how do we find these really what's the word I'm looking for? It's like scrupulous parts of us, like these really, really small, detailed, otherwise just unnoticed parts of the shadow that are trying to come up for resolution. That's how you break free of the stagnation. That's how you break free of the wheel of karma. And this is how we move forward without having to create more pain for ourselves, for others. And we're in the last stages of the winter months. And the winter months are the inner transformation. They are the deep, dark roots. So where are your roots decaying? Where are they dead? Where are they spoiled? Where are they growing? Where are you growing new foundations? Where are you servicing broken parts of your tree, of your root system? So this could be a challenging month. I can feel that collectively as well as personally. And from what it looks like, our path is creating enough space to be still, to acknowledge and observe, to witness and invite honesty into every part of your life. Invite honesty into your conversations. Really notice, what have you been attracting? Your vibe attracts your tribe. What have you been attracting lately? What kind of conversations? What kind of situations, people? What is it showing you? It is all a reflection through grace to show you what you have been unwilling to see until now. You can claim it. You can claim it right now. You can claim it in the moment when you start to see that you have a tendency to do blank, blank, and blank. And oh my goodness, wow, I've been projecting that onto, whoever is close by, essentially. How can you reclaim that as your own and remove that from the individual, giving them back their light, giving them back their sovereignty, and owning yours at the same time, and then choosing maybe through that same interaction, choosing a different response, the response of you take a deep breath, you feel the energy, like that's the energy that causes the impulsive action. So taking a deep breath into the energy, into the feeling, and just choosing, I forgive, I forgive, I forgive, forgive me, forgive me. You know, you call in that spirit of forgiveness, you call in the spirit of truth, it will reveal to you where you have not allowed yourself to fully be within love, to fully be within your authenticity. So I hope this was helpful. This was deeply helpful for me. I'm so missed doing these readings because it's always so clarifying in my own life, and I find it very helpful in watching the world around me and how other people are navigating it. So if you have any comments, anything that you wish to share about how this relates to you and what you've been encountering, um, my wish is that we all are able to move through this full moon with humility, with kindness, with compassion, honesty, and a willingness to be, a willingness to disconnect from all of the distractions that keep us from being. I love you all so very much, and I really pray that this full moon is illuminating, enlightening, and supportive for the path of liberation for us all. Until we meet again, keep it pure and stay simple. Pura vida.